After we talked about how BoP works in general in one of my previous videos, let's have a closer look at how specifically the very different LMH and LMDh prototypes should be equalized by BoP. If you want to know more about the difference between LMH and LMDh cars, check out my other video in the description. The selling point for manufacturers to join the LMH or LMDh race cars is that they can compete with one car in both North American IMSA and European WEC, which also includes the 24 hours of Le Mans. To equalize lap times of these very different cars, the regulators created a system with 4 factors. The first factor are the tires. The width is regulated and you can either go for 310 mm at front and rear or 290 mm at front and 340 mm at the rear. That way, competitors have to use the same tire dimensions. Interesting here is that Toyota's hybrid development speed was raised from 120 km per hour in dry conditions to 190 km per hour, so they can only use their all-wheel drive above that speed, so the car has rear-wheel drive most of the times. Therefore, Toyota now chose the rear-wheel drive configuration with narrower tires in front and wider tires at the back. And this hybrid deployment speed is the second factor to equalize cars. LMDh prototypes have a much smaller hybrid system and only rear-wheel drive, so LMH cars will be slowed down by this. The third factor is brake force. All-wheel drive cars can generate a braking moment through recuperation at the front and engine brake at the back, and hence could have an advantage. The regulators will define a maximum brake moment to make sure all-wheel drive cars won't have an advantage here. And the fourth factor is aerodynamics. Every car will be assessed in a wind tunnel. If a car wants to compete in IMSA, they will be tested in Windshear's wind tunnel in North Carolina. If a car wants to compete in WEC, it will be assessed in Sauber's F1 wind tunnel in Switzerland. The aerodynamic efficiency is regulated at a maximum of 4. The drag has to be at least 1 and the downforce maximum at 5.2. Which means you can have a low downforce configuration with a drag coefficient of 1 and downforce of 4. Or you have a high downforce setup with 1.3 and 5.2. Or anything in between. With these 4 factors in mind, how would you now approach designing race cars for this category? First of all, engine-wise, you want everything you can get to react to BoP measures in the best possible way. So like Porsche or BMW, you choose race engines with large capacity, with 4 liter or more. So even with a restrictor, you still have an engine with large capacity and torque. And on top of that, you turbocharge this engine to reach the maximum airflow quicker. In terms of weight, you design a light car to be able to position ballast in beneficial places. And in terms of aerodynamics, you design a very efficient low-drag car which can still easily reach the downforce numbers, and then add some draggy features to meet the requirements. Since the regulations specifically focus on taking away the advantages of all-wheel drive cars, maybe it's a good idea not to build an all-wheel drive system, because Toyota's example shows that even such a car is run like a rear-wheel drive vehicle. So while these 4 factors target very specific areas of cars, they won't change the whole characteristics of the design. But it makes us understand why some cars have some draggy features to get into the required aero performance window. And let's see if these 4 factors will be enough to bring all these very different cars close enough together in a fair way. See you at the next video.